Ma'at Hotep. Welcome to Raising the Feminine Principle. I am your host, Satra Nidert Kefa Abe Menuk Ma'at. This is my sister, Goddess Hadassah X. She is now accepted X as of this moment for her reasons that she has, where she's in her learning process. As I like to say, you are in the learning of the knowing. And we are all, once we become awakened, that's where we all are. And that's where we continue to stay. And then it's interesting how it works, because the higher you get in knowledge, you'll come to understand that as much as you know, you really know nothing at all. Because you're always going to be learning something new. You know? Sister Hadassah has a very strong love and compassion for her people. And when I say this does not in any way brings down the masculine principle at all, as this is more so inclined for the feminine principle. But it should not stop the brothers from watching, so you can learn from your sisters. But we have to be able to teach our sisters and guide our sisters. Why? Because our sisters before us, our mothers, our grandmothers, because they were not aware of how to handle things. They were not taught how to handle things. They, by generation of a programmed mindset of how we handle our lives, a lot of us have now gotten really messed up. And so her love and my love for our sisters, it does not matter what religious practice you have decided to keep. It doesn't matter what culture you come from. It doesn't matter if you are spiritual or completely into the earth. You are a female. You are a woman of God, the one most high. You are the woman of Allah. You are the woman of Elohim, the one most high. All these different names that you come across. You're still the daughter of that which created you. So we need to hold on and have respect for our sisters. This is what this is about. Our last show was about abuse in relationships and the abuse that women take on and how that affects us. As to finish off where we were leaving off where Sister Doxa was at, where we were talking about there's a difference between having sex and love in these relationships that we are in. And that's what we're going to speak on. But before I even branch out to that, I first must give our honors and respect to first that which created us, that allowed us to walk and to follow its likeness, to live in its likeness and be its likeness here on earth. As I and Sister Hadassah and all females who are viewing this show at this moment, you are the feminine aspect of that which created you. And the man who sits next to you or that walks past you, he is the masculine aspect of that which created you and him. So we're going to give praise and honor to the One Most High first before we begin this, because without the One Most High and His divine creation to create us, we would not even be able to be here to help you. We give honor and praises to our elders, those who have come before us that are still here walking this earth, in this realm, who are guiding us. And they are guiding us and teaching us through their living correct, and even those who are living incorrect, because you are to learn from them. Not to mimic them, but learn from them so that the spirit within you can direct you correctly. I like to give my praises and honor to our ancestors, whether they are just our ancestors from yesterday or ancestors from just 100 years ago. Ancestors who we call our ancient ancestors of the Nubian people, the whole continent of the Nubian people, and all those Nubian melanated beings across this world and this earth. I give my praise and honor to you for what you have left behind, the symbolisms, the allegories, which are stories, to help us to remind us who we are, who self is. I give honor to you for that. I like to give my thanks to Baba and his wife. And forgive me for not knowing your name, sister, after this one, but trust me, I will learn that. for allowing Raising the Feminine Principles to even be aired on your show on WNWP TV. I give honor to my sister here, as I'm here in her house in Paterson, New Jersey. As I'm here to assist her and teach her, she is here assisting me and teaching me. And that's what we do. And I give honor and praise to you for that, my sister. And to my twin, my spiritual twin, who sharpens me and helped me to rise to the spirituality of self of who I am, who is the mirror of who I am. I like to give thanks to you, Sarah, Amenhotep, Setep Ra, Murray Amen. I thank you. I give my honor to you. So let's get started, because I don't want to feel like I'm taking over the camera. We're going to, Hadassah, I'm not sure if you remember how we finished off on the previous show, but we were talking about the differences between sex and love. What is it that you see when you're concerning this issue?
As I previously said before in the last video, we have a lot of women who are under the pretense, the false pretense, that because they have a man in their home, using their body, lying next to them every night, that's love. And it's not love. I myself thought for a long time that was love. I'm coming to learn that sometimes that can be just a matter of convenience. And I'm here to discuss with my sister, Kefa, what is love? Because I'm under misconception of love. I was taught love is people feed you, they do things for you, and I'm coming to learn that that's not love. There's a quote that says, you'll know the character of a man by how he treats people who can't do anything for him. So, if someone can't assist me or do something for me or meet my demands, then we withhold love. We don't love them or they don't love me, and that's not the truth. Sometimes, just because someone isn't showing you love in the way that you think they should love you, doesn't mean that they don't love you. But first and foremost, let's clarify what is love. Because this term today, it's watered down. It really has no validity. And the term is used very loosely. Mm-hmm. I even heard someone refer to love as the new hate. So, Sister Kefa, what is love?
Okay, first I'm a bit blown by that last statement. Because hate, as I share, is an emotion. Love is a law. Mm-hmm. And that is the differences. We are taught because to romance things, and as my spiritual twin shared that with me, look at the words, Roman. Mm-hmm. Roman is in there. And understanding that these people, how they lived their lives and how cruel they were, they could not have the possibility of understanding what that compassion means, because they had no compassion. They cared about self and self-power over people and rule over people. That's all they cared about. Love is the divine law. Love is what is taught in what what we call our ancient ancestors of Kemet, not Egypt, because understand there's a difference. Our ancient ancestors of Kemet understood of what they titled as Ma'at. Ma'at is the law, the feminine aspect of the One Most High. She is the holder of the divine law of love, truth, order, balance. And she is, to go in depth, as she is the understanding of the interrelationships of things. That means that the things that connect to, the reasons of why you experience the things in your life, of who you met outside of the choices that you made. And the fact that you came across me and whoever else you're going to come across after that. Love is not saying that just because you feel a bit of warmth into your body, that all of a sudden, oh, I must love this person because they tell me I'm pretty. That I love this person because they bought me some clothes. I love this person because they bought me a car, they put me up in a house. You know, I love this person because he gets my hair, pays to get my hair done, or he pays to get my nails done and my toes done. You know, that's not love. Because love, and how it is divinely in law, is that it's that connection to all things that is created. If you do not have love, even for that which you call your enemy, if you do not have love for all things that are created that you can see and cannot see, that's not love. If you hate anything, it's because you have hatred within you. Romance is different from divine love. Compassion is different from divine love. Passion is different from divine love. Passion is what two people who have a body and they're sharing a moment with each other. That's passion. That's the heat of the moment. That's your senses being awakened really strong. That's when the sense of touch and somebody touches your skin and you start to feel a bit, get a little rowdy and all this other stuff, and your heart starts to beat and you start to sweat. That's passion. All that kissing slowly and all this other stuff and all the rose petals and everything that we do, that's part of passion. That's totally different from love.
Which comes from the word eros. And you can hear the word erotic in eros.
Mm-hmm.
So, what we've come to know as love today is all superficial. And in order to repair our relationships, our homes, and ourselves, we have to get down to the true concept of love. And that's walking in divine love, order, balance, harmony, truth, and justice. Without those components, it's not love.
Indeed, and even in the Bible speaks, and I'm not a Bible quoting person. I don't follow the Bible quoting thing. I don't quote people like that. I speak from the Spirit. But I do know that there is a part of the Bible, it's one of those very famous verses, actually, and I hate to say that's a famous verse because then that's being commercialized.
Corinthians.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians 13:1, thank you. Where it speaks about love is not jealous, it's kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, all those different things.
And it's not self-seeking.
Right. And even in that definition alone, and people, how they live their lives will tell you that how you interact with the people next to you, your family, your parents, your children, your friends, your co-workers, the people you come across in the street, if you at one moment said to yourself, I can't, oh man, that woman got this on, I can't believe she got that on, I wish I had that. The moment you start to envy her or him, that's not, you're stepped out of love. The moment that you are jealous because somebody has something that you want, like women who we are mistaken that because a man wants to be with another woman, but you want him to be with you. You're jealous of the woman for what he does for the woman. That's not love for the man. Because what it is that you have to understand, if you truly, as they say how the love is, if you love the man or the man loves the woman, it's about that person's happiness, that person's joy.
No self-seeking.
No, it's right. It's not self-seeking. You have to respect each other. And that's another key important word that people ignore. Respect. No one knows how to respect people anymore. No one cares to respect people anymore. When I was a child growing up, I would say to my mom, and then because there was a certain mindset back in that time frame, I was looked at like I was crazy and I was wrong. And I felt that yes, I do feel that you should respect your elders. But at the same time, if your elders are not giving you respect, how am I going to give you respect in return?
And see, that's also goes in accordance with reciprocity. We get back what we put out. So if we feel we're not being loved, then we need to check ourselves, because if it's not coming to us, 9 times out of 10, it's not being given out.
Right.
And again, love is not self-seeking. When we get into these relationships, we don't get into it for what can I get out of it. We're supposed to get into relationships with the mindset of what can I give to this person.
Right, and what, right.
As opposed to what I can get out of this person.
Right.
It's selflessness. It's not puffed up with pride. We can speak to each other. We can disagree without using profanity, belittling, downgrading, humiliating, and then in the next breath, I love you. That's not love. That's not love.
And even to be honest, and I'm sure a lot of people would totally disagree with what I'm about to say, but this even goes back into a slave mentality. Because we sit here and if our children don't do what we want them to do, we beat them. And when we beat them because that's what we were taught by our parents were taught by their parents were taught by their parents who came from a slavery time of if they didn't do what masters told them to do, I'm going to whip you. I'm going to beat you until you follow what I want you to do. See, we have to understand something. There is no love when someone feels obligated to do something. That's not love. Hatred comes from obligation.
Resentment.
Yes, resentment, hatred comes from obligation. One must do for another because they want to, because they have compassion for the next person. If you don't have compassion for the next person, then you want them to do what you want when you want them and how you want it. That's a level of hatred and that's a level of control. Yes. There's no love and control.
And control is a form of abuse. And abuse comes in all aspects. And normally becoming physical and beating is when all other forms and methods of control has failed. Mm-hmm. But when two people are working together for the common good and the common goal of the relationship, there's no need to control because we both want the same things. We only seek to control when we feel that the other person is not in alignment with what I want.
Right.
Be that good or bad. So I'm going to invoke these methods on you to get you to see things my way instead of coming to the table and sitting down like adults through communication and learning to reason together. Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to get our way through intimidation, through manipulation, aggravation, and just downright disrespect. If I have to go, Sister Kepha, by what the definition of love is, I have to admit here today that I have not been loved. And I also haven't loved myself. Because I am coming to realize that I can't even begin to give to another what I don't give to myself. Mm-hmm. So when they say, we love our neighbor as ourselves, what we see in the world today is people loving their neighbor as themselves. I don't love myself, right? So I can't love you,
right? So if they showing hatred towards you as a neighbor, it's because they have hatred for themselves. And then touching on something for the very last thing that you said in the previous show about the difference between sex and love. See, I'm the type of person where the only way that I can be able to express something, to share, to teach, to show another person how to get out of it, is that I had to experience it. And outside of experience of anything that I talk about comes straight from the spirit, as I don't allow myself to put my emotions or thoughts in it, because if I do, I'm doing you wrong. In my life, and many women can too, they can agree to this. You don't have to admit it out loud if you don't want to, but most of us have gone through this. We use sex to get men. We use our body to get men, and then after we use our bodies to get the man, then all of a sudden we think it's love. And so we feel like the only way to hold on to this man is to continually to keep giving him our body. I was de-virginized when I was 13 years old.
And I am 14.
And being at such a young age having sex, you don't understand sex. You don't understand all the things that happen during sex. The physical things, the emotional things, the mental things, and the spiritual things. It is a very serious act that people take very lightly. Mm-hmm. And so, throughout that time period, I, not knowing what that meant, and because I was going through my own emotional issues, because I lost my grandfather when I was 12, going on 13. He was the only masculine male person I knew that was my father. And so he took care of me, with my grandmother. But when he died, I had nothing to show me a certain way anymore. So when he died, a part of me died with him. So I stopped caring about myself. But at the same time, because I lost the only male figure I had in my life, I started seeking another male figure. It didn't matter if he was my age. It didn't matter if he was older. It was the fact that I was looking for my daddy. I was looking for that male principal to guide me and protect me and show me something, show me the way of what I needed to do or what to look for in a man. And since that man was not there, I didn't know what to look for no more.
And at least, sister, you at least had somewhat of an example for your grandfather. I came from a home where there was no man present at all. And because my mother had 4 daughters, she refused to bring a man into her home around her daughters. So my behaviors and my mindset and my patterns and relationships with men, I began to go out to look for my dad. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I found. Emotionally unavailable men, abusers, drug abusers, men who frequent the prison system, just like my father, because we're going to gravitate towards the example that we've seen.
Right.
So I had no example. So I equated love with sex, thinking that if I performed so well sexually in the bed, that this man will want to stay with me.
Right.
Not true.
Not true.
He's going to come back.
Because he's enjoying what you're giving him.
But that doesn't mean that he loves you or he's in love with you or he has feelings for you. You know, one thing about men, they can detach themselves emotionally from the sex act. When 2 people lay down, I always heard somebody's getting up with feelings. Mm-hmm. And 9 times out of the 10, it's us.
Right.
You know, because we've fed into the fairy tale. Mm-hmm. You know, we're looking for our knight in shining armor. I'm looking for someone to come and love me. Mm-hmm. Not realizing that as I love myself, they'll come. And if they don't, I can still be okay.
Right.
You know, and not feel like I'm not a woman because I don't have my male counterpart. You know, I'm glad he's not here right now because I probably would run him away. You know, I'm going through deprogramming, you know, and learning, coming out of believing and into the knowing, and it's nothing like what I thought. So I have to step back. And I'm doing that for me. So when I do extend myself to love, I know what love is. Mm-hmm. And not what's the Europeans' interpretation of what love is.
Right.
You know, Valentine's Day, gifts. Those things are superficial. Do we really need a holiday to tell somebody that we love them? I was in the pharmacy and I watched people scrambling at the last minute to buy Valentine's cards. How much did you love that person that you waited till the very hour and forgot, you know, and had a bad attitude in the store while you're searching to
find the right
card to convince this person that you love them. You know, so I've been damaged from coming from a single parent home. My father was not there. All my relationships were abusive. Sex at an early age, you know, and my virginity, something so special, I gave away on a dare because he said, "You're scared, you're a chicken," and I wanted to prove that I wasn't. I had no idea what I was doing. No idea.
Mine was my next door neighbor. he was 19 years old. He was 6 years older than me. And that showed the respect that he had to females, because he took something that I was freely giving to him, and I didn't really know what I was giving to him, because that was the fad back then. That was the thing. The thing was not to be a virgin. You know, you were made fun of and teased and berated if you were a virgin. Yes. And so you didn't want to be the virgin, and not realizing that there's one thing I realized later on that a lot of Christians do hold on to, is that you should wait until you get married. But the thing is that it's not about waiting until you get married. It's waiting until you know thyself. If you don't know who you are, and you are following the ways of just because you see what everybody else is doing, you're mimicking them, then you are not you. You are whatever it is that you're following. To know who you are, sisters, you got to know and find self within you. And understanding, when people say self, they don't even understand what self is. Self is the indwelling God that is within you. If you do not know that God that is in you, that spirit that is in you, if you are not together and you're emotional and you're carrying baggages in your relationships, and you bring it into that man, and now you're tearing down that man because you can hold all that weight, so you want him to carry that weight for you, when he got his own weight that he's got to carry because he wasn't taught how to get rid of that weight, the weight that he carries. So now because we are taught that man got to carry everything because he's strong. Let me help you understand something, sisters, about our brothers. Our brothers are strong. Yes, they are. They are strong in body, so they can lift and carry things and protect you. They are the warriors. They're the ones that say, you have to come through me to get to my wife, my girl, my children, my mom, my grandmom. You know what I'm saying? They're there to protect and guide you through the storm. But you have to remember, he can have the mental strength in there, because there's some big brothers out here that got some knowledge in them that almost make you tremble and drop some tears because they're so powerful. Just on a quick saying on the side, as we watched our brother Sonetter's page, where Natural Tahuti was on there, and many other brothers like Professor Larry and other people out here, Bro Polite and so on. These brothers got knowledge. They're not just being informed. They have delved in the sciences, the religions, and everything else, and then they go within themselves to get the rest of the information, and they walk around with that in them, and that makes them powerful. But you must understand, sisters, we are not one. We're not emotional people. That's a program. But we all of us, male and female, hold emotions. The difference is that women, especially if we're taught correctly and we know our strengths, we can handle those emotions differently than men do. And so what happens is they already got the weight of the world on their shoulders. They got the white man on their shoulders. They got the black man on their shoulders. They got the Arab man on their shoulders. And then they're sitting there, and if they got these families, they got children, now they got the children that they got to take care of. They got the money they got to bring in. They got to fight the world and fight the household that they come into. And now, because we're not taught how to, know self and to rise above the influence of these things, because we don't want to fight anymore or to learn anything about ourselves, we take our burdens and put it on him and say, you take this too. And then you wonder why they are angry, why they arguing and fighting with you. Sisters, you have to get yourself together right first. You have to go within your being to get to know who you are. To say, oh, I'm not perfect, sister. I hear that so often from people. First, you need to understand that you were created perfectly by that which is perfect. So that you should already know that you are perfect. It's just that you have acquired during the time period that you have been here the programming and the conditioning of the human mind to act out in the manner that you are, which is not your nature. Nature, as they put the vowels in, is actually niter. Niter is the same as the One Most High. The One Most High holds no emotion. It is not an emotional-driven entity. It is a truth-driven entity.
Which contradicts what I've been told. I was told that the Most High, and it blew my mind when I read the law of
Ma'at, the laws of God.
Yes, that God neither rewards nor punishes. But yet I was led to believe that God rewards and He punishes.
Mm-hmm. And that's again, right, she's correct. We were taught that, I'm being punished for the choice that I made. I'm being punished because I'm being punished because of the people that I'm around or the job that I had. I got fired from, and so on. That's just not how it goes. But just finishing off, if we were taught correctly by our mothers through the womb first, and giving birth and nurturing the child like the mothers should. And we teach them how to be a woman. Teach them about the emotions that you will carry and how to control those emotions that you carry. So that when you go out into the world and you meet a brother, you will know if that brother is someone that you should be dealing with, that should be in your cipher, that should be in your journey. See, that's that problem that we have. We want a man so bad. I just finished having this conversation with I'll just be honest. I had a conversation on Hadassah's page with the Hebrew Israelite male, and he kept saying that women really don't want a man, and was talking with the educated businesswoman. And you don't understand because you're a man. You don't understand a woman because you're not a woman. Let me tell you, as a woman, we want a man. We want that man next to us to hold us, to touch us, to tell us what we need to hear. Not what we want to hear, but what we need to hear to put the fire under our feet to move and do something with ourselves. We want you here. And how bad we want you here, we're even so in wanting of your touch that we don't even care anymore who we bring into our cipher anymore.
We'll take you in any type of condition. Remember they used to say half a man is better than no man at all? I disagree, because half a man is no man. So we have a lot of women who are compromising, who are, just for the sake of having a man, in their life. And going back to our emotions, manage your emotions before your emotions manage you. Free your life of automatic emotional responses. I'm going to use myself as an example and show you where emotions can get you. I was in a relationship with a young man who, he made me feel so bad about myself. And first of all, self-esteem is how you feel about self. So nobody really has the power to make me feel any type of way about myself. But because I hadn't come into any type of understanding of who I was, he had belittled me, verbal abuse, psychological, emotional abuse. So what I did out of emotions, I contacted a brother on the internet because I wanted to see through this brother if...
It's official. Oprah Winfrey, the queen of daytime talk, has resigned from her throne. But who will take her place? It could be you. WNWP Internet Television wants to help broadcast your message to the world. Your magnetic personality and positive programming could be the next big thing. To learn more on how you can broadcast your message to the world, send an email to wnwp.tv@gmail.com to request an information packet. You could be next in the hot seat. Call or click today.
Was I that bad of a person that this man is treating me in this manner? And acting off of those emotions and reaching out to this brother on the internet got me raped. I'm not ashamed to say that because I'm a survivor. I'm still here today to share my story. But I learned from that. My emotions put me in that position. My emotions put me and my children in a position to be homeless. Manage your emotions. Manage your emotions. Your emotions are not who you are. They cannot be trusted. They will have you say and do things that you'll find yourself asking yourself later, how did I get here? You can, out of emotions, link up with men in relationships. And then when you're no longer walking in accordance to those emotions, you'll find yourself asking yourself, how did I get here? How do I get out of this?
Right. Why am I still here?
Exactly. Exactly. And before you know it, you will have brought children into the midst of that. We're buying property with men who aren't even our husbands or our mates. You know, we're building lives with men and no commitments. I don't play house.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I used to. Cooking up meals and playing house. No, brother. Eat before you come here.
You know, one thing I've learned also, and it took my children to help me to wake up to this, because my boys are very intelligent. I have a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 17-year-old. And my life I live for them. And I have not made always the best decisions, but my decisions were also based off of my emotions and where I was at that time in my mindset. But it was something else that my children taught me, my oldest son taught me, and Brother Hotep, he taught me, was that, and we had to learn this together. When you do allow your emotions to dictate your choices that you make, which involves the type of people that you bring into your life, male or female, that what I did wrong in my era was because I truly still didn't know self. I was being guided by my sensations of the body. I was being guided by the emotional self that I had, the emotional part of my being. Was not allowing the logic to really kick in, my wisdom of my experiences, of my previous choices, and we just kept going through the same cycles over and over again. Was not seeing, like I said, it took the brother to tell me, to show this to me as we were going through it. Sister, you need to get right because you have children. You have boys, and your boys are watching you go through these emotions with these men, being around these different men. I wasn't around a whole bunch of men, but they were there for a nice period of time. But what happened was I jumped from one to one without giving time to get to learn myself better. So what happened was my children started watching me and seeing how much mommy was crying every time a man said something that was hurtful, or sometimes the man would leave. And I don't understand what happened. I was in one relationship where he told me he loved me. And I loved him. Matter of fact, he said, I love you more than I love myself.
Oh, I've been told
and that's what I was told. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's deep that this brother said that to me. He must really love me. He must really want me. But you know what happened, what I experienced, and my children watched it over and over again. As he said that he loves me more than he loves himself, but yet he kept choosing different men, and just give me different women to be with. I was always there sensationally physically to please him. I was always there money-wise to please him. We had fun, went out drinking, smoking, had all the good times. But if he truly wanted to be with me, he would not have kept choosing to be with other women. He chose to be with them and not me, and only me when needed to. And I bought into that as love, because I did not truly know what love was. I was going off of what has been taught to me through movies, through our parents, through books, through videos, through paintings, and all this other stuff. So what happened was, my boys, by watching mommy, because mommy was the main person in their lives, they are going to treat the women the same way that they see the men treat their mom. And they're going to go through women like it's nothing. And then won't care to see her cry, because they know that, okay, well, you may be crying now and you may feel like you're hurting now, but that's okay, because after I walk away, you're going to pick up another man behind me anyway. So what difference does it matter? You know? And if you got girls, my sisters, if you got girls, she's going to do what you're doing.
Yes, I have a daughter who is 25 years old, and she is the spitting image of who I used to be. Loud, combative, contentious, run all over men, haughty, you can't this, you can't that, and she watched me behave in that manner. Our children are watching. They're silent sufferers. My children seen me beat. And when the relationship was all over, I asked them, why didn't you tell me you didn't like him? They told me, because you liked him. So a lot of the times our children are going along just to get along. We rob them of our voice. We don't allow them to speak up. We don't ask them how they feel. I have a 24-year-old son who's telling me up to this very hour how I traumatized him taking him to daycare. I didn't ask him how he felt about that. I didn't speak to him about it. I just took him to this place with no explanation. So our children are learning through us. They're watching. We're so gung-ho on our children listening. We need to be more concerned that they're watching. Because they mimic us. How they play, how they go out into that world. They're going to take what they learn in the home. They always say it all begins at home. So women, my beloved sisters, let's really, really, really be honest with ourselves. Let's evaluate who is in our life. Let's evaluate the quality of who is in our life. Let's be real about what we're being shown. Let's stop loving people for who we want them to be and love them for who they are. And then we get angry at them later on in the relationship when they've never become who we wanted them to be. That's not reality. Someone told me, love is, if the person you're with never changes one thing about them, can you live with it? That's what love is. And when I asked myself about the relationship that I was in, no, I couldn't live with a lot of the things that was going on in the relationship. But I stayed in hoping and with the expectation that things would get better, or naively thought that I could change him. We changed the TV. We changed clothes. We changed the temperature on the thermostat. We can't, nor do we have power to change people. We can change ourselves, and that change will influence others around, but at the end of the day, it's up to them to want to change. So I no longer try to perform my hocus pocus and try to, create me a Frankenstein and make him into what I want him to be. I'm too busy working on me. And as I work on me, the more I work on me, the more I'm honest about the work that needs to be done on me. When I watched the video of the brothers from the House of Consciousness, I was so impressed. I actually caught myself feeling Like I was falling in love with the video. You know, it was unbelievable. I never been around or saw or heard men who spoke with such confidence and strength and knowledge and wisdom and spoke so eloquently and could sit and speak for hours and not have sex, monies, and cars come up. You understand what I'm saying? That was mind-blowing.
And not only that, that they can be able to have that knowledge and speak like that as well, but the fact that they have a divine love and respect and honor for women. And not just allowing, because let me change that, not allowing, but when they see a sister who got something up here, who can speak her mind, oh, they listen. Because they feel like, oh, that's the mom right there. That's Mother Earth. That's the universe speaking. She's speaking at wisdom, so let's listen. You know what I'm saying? The sister that we were just looking on this video, Nikki Love, that sister she's serious. She know what she was talking about, and I give praise and honor to you, sister, if you are ever watching this video.
You spoke with full authority. I mean, absolute full authority, and without fear of retribution or fear of, or someone attacking her for what it was she knew, not even what she believed.
Right, and that's the difference, because when you speak out of what you are being informed by, then you're going to only speak by that same information. But if you can speak out of what you know, that's a totally different thing. You can know something and don't ever have to quote anything from anybody else, because to quote something over and over and over again, you are now robotic, and there should be more sisters like that, standing up, building, growing, knowing thyself, and not being afraid to speak up. Having respect for your brothers as you already have respect for yourself. And that's one of those other heavier things that we need to understand. We truly have to get to learn ourselves. Take some time, my sister. Stop worrying about the man. Stop worrying about, I just want to feel that phallus inside me. I want to feel that sensation inside me. I want somebody to kiss me and hold me. I just want that man present in my so I can see him in my face when I wake up in the morning. Sister, if you don't know nothing about you, if you got issues and baggage that you're carrying around, trust me, any man that you're going to come across, you only can attract through the law of attraction of what you feel within your being. So that if you are feeling something about that's missing out of yourself, if you feel self-hatred, if you are angry at yourself, you're in chaos, you're in confusion because you don't understand why the events have happened in your life in the manner that they have, then you are going to attract that same type of man who's going through the same thing. How is he going to help you? If he can't help himself and you can't help yourself, you got two weak-minded people in a relationship that's trying to build off of weakness. Where's the root that's going to ground you? You can have two strong people, because at some point when the strong people have a moment of weakness, that other person can be there to be the strength for that who is being weak at the moment. And then it goes vice versa. But when people who are building off of a weak tree, off of a weak moment, they can't build off of that weakness, because the tree will eventually fall. It breaks, it dies, it starts to wither. You cannot have a weak foundation off of building anything. If you have a house built on sand, we learned when I was a child growing up, I went to a Baptist church when I was younger. I grew up in Landover, Maryland. The school that I went to was called Riverdale Baptist School. I'm not advertising, I'm just being honest and telling you what it was. And they used to have this song, it was a song, it was Jesus is the rock of my foundation, and his banner over me is love. But in the song, they kept showing what happens if you put a house on sand, if you put a house on like water and all this other stuff, what's going to happen to the house. But if you got a strong foundation, a root to build from the beginning, because the root is already into the ground, that brings strength to the foundation of the bottom part of that tree that allows it to grow in strength and branch out, it will bear fruit. Fruit is the representation of wisdom. So both parties will grow in wisdom. Both parties will grow in truth. Both parties will grow in divine love. They won't have to have arguments and fighting and disagreements and all that other stuff, because you understand that, okay, sweetheart, I don't understand this. Please Share with me. Break down to what's.
SunPoints are a tally system WNWP-TV uses to reward its viewers for choosing Black-owned and operated media. SunPoints can be used to purchase items from the network store without the need for your credit card or PayPal account. To learn more about the SunPoint system, please click the link to the left of your screen entitled, What are SunPoints?
You know, we don't know how to do that anymore. We yell and we fight and we claw at each other and all this other stuff and not speaking to each other. You know, you have to have something true and real to build off of. And the center of that common ground, should be that which created you. I don't care what the name you call it. It doesn't matter to me. The common ground is that which created you. If you can't see the God in him, then he is not seeing the God in you. What are you seeing? Because if you're not seeing God in him, you're seeing something different. You're seeing another being in there. You're dealing with someone who is not God because they have not acknowledged the God in him and acknowledged the God that which created it, created him, created you. He is your equal in spirit. He might not be your equal in body and might not even be equal in mindset and when it comes to certain things because everybody takes in and consumes things differently. But he is your equal in spirit if you have found that which is your other half of your spirit. Because there is a difference. I have been teaching on that as well. People don't understand that you have a spiritual twin. People can mate with anybody. But when the two become one, and nothing can break that apart, that is a power that is divine and strength and pure, that nothing or no one or no event, even separation of the physical death here, can separate you.
So we need to evaluate the foundation in which our relationships are built upon. I know people who've been in relationships for 10 years and they don't even trust each other. You know, bad watery sand foundation. You know, there's no firm foundation here. What are our relationships built off of? You know, are we with someone because we're manipulating them to be with us? Are we with someone because we want them to feel sorry for us? You know, are they with us because they feel sorry for us?
Right.
You know, because I've had those too. You know, do we use trauma of the past for sympathy and understanding? You know, why are we with each other? Are you there because you figure, you know, you've spent so much time together, you don't want to start over? Are you there because you have financial, you vested in financial, you know, joint financial ventures together? Are you there because children are involved? You know, why are you there? Why am I in this? You know, and although that scripture we quoted, love doesn't seek itself, we do have a right to expect. You know, it doesn't mean that I have to totally compromise and lay what I want down by the wayside because I'm not in this relationship for what I can get. But when it's mutual, you don't have to worry about that. It's natural.
Right.
You know, I don't have to worry about what his objective is, and you know, they don't have to worry about what mine is. So again, we need to question the foundation of these relationships that we're in and be willing to be honest with ourselves. And it doesn't matter if you've been together 10 years or 10 minutes. You know, if it's not for you, it's not for you. And no amount of time, no amount of crying, kicking, screaming, fighting, or arguing is ever going to make that work. It's ever going to make that work. You know, love. serious. It's misused. It's abused. And I know it can be a beautiful thing when people walk in accordance to divine laws. You get nothing but love. So if you're not getting that, then we need to question, how are you walking? You know, is this fulfilling to me? Be honest. You know, we make people our priority while they make us an option. You know, just be real. You know, boundaries, expectations. It's okay to set those.
Speak up.
Speak up. Let people know how you're feeling. Don't violate your personal integrity. Don't, like the video we watched this morning. Israelite sister was being asked how she felt about multiple wives.
Mm-hmm. And if her husband took on another one.
And how would she feel if her husband wanted to bring a second and a third wife into the home? The sister stared down to the ground and said, I'm going to stay out of that conversation.
So she said, I'm going to let my husband speak.
I'm going to let my husband speak. But as a former fraud investigator who took 6 years of courses on how to read body language, her jaw and her facial expression said what she wouldn't verbally. And trust me, she didn't like it. She wasn't with it. But because of the lack of mutual understanding or respect for each other in that relationship
and knowledge of
self, she was afraid to speak up for fear maybe he'll leave her. You understand what I'm saying? We don't speak up out of fear. So I'll dumb down, I'll be quiet just so he can be here. And
just to say I have a
yeah.
man here.
And when I looked at her, I said, wow, the only thing missing between him and her is a collar and a leash.
But it's already there mentally.
Yeah.
It's already there mentally.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, that part I do not understand. I don't care what the religions are. You should always see the person that you have chosen to become your mate as your equal. My brother Hotep said to me once, a couple of years ago, we were in the kitchen actually talking about it. Mm-hmm. And I remember he said, thank you, sister. I was like, for what? He said, because a woman chooses the man. And the fact that I chose him, you know, and that was very deep. I've never had a man say that to me before. I didn't know how to respond to that when he said it. And that's just how messed up we are. You know, when a brother comes and says something that is a truth factor and you're going, thank you. You know, do you say thank you?
Because at the end of the day, although he may have let it be known how he felt about you, you had the final say-so as to whether you were going to allow him into your life. We have a lot of our sisters walking around saying that men ain't it. Well, the last I checked, you chose him.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You chose him. We have a lot of sisters angry because he doesn't work. He's not performing to the way that she feels he should. He wasn't when you met him.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? He wasn't when you met him, so...
What made you think that it was going to change
exactly,
later on? That because it's you, that you have the power, the divine power to change him. And maybe you feel like you have the divine power in between your legs to change him. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's not it. That's a sexual thing. You know, I have been very blessed in my life because I have my best friend who's a male. I call him Brady. I had brothers. Before I came into my awakening, Maurice and many other people who helped me along the way because it was the men who helped me to see the truth about the other men as I was the woman who helped teach them the truth about the other women because I couldn't understand man because I'm not a man, but they were men and so they helped me to understand it. I was guided and protected by so many men. But it was me by woman of the choice of because I was not taught correctly and I was unsure of myself. I was very confused within myself. I was very emotional within myself that it was not actually the men who hurt me. It was me. I hurt me.
And also, we as women, love is not limited to male-female relationships. it's also limited to, it's also to inclusive of how we treat our other sisters, how we treat our sisters and each other.
Right.
I am, for the first time in my life, I truly am learning to love other women. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't trust other women. I didn't want to be around them. I didn't want them to be my friends. I thought that they were trifling. You understand what I'm saying? If I can't love and deal effectively with me, my own kind, how can I with the opposite?
Right.
You know, it all begins with us. And I'm learning to develop a sincere and loving friendship and relationship with my sister Kefa here. You know, and that's something that I never had, because the first time you irk me, annoy me, piss me off, don't do what I say do or what you do, you got to go. You know, and love is accepting differences. Is accepting people for who and what they are. So love is not limited to male, female. It's also inclusive of our sisters and also our children. We tell our children that they're loved, but do they feel that they're loved?
Right.
You know, I came from a home where my mother told me, she didn't tell me that she loved me, but she showed me that she loved me. You know, I can give more touchy-feely, expressive love type affection to another man, but when it comes to my children, giving them a hug, I remember times where I would cringe. I didn't know how to deal with it. You know, so also it goes to our children, because we have a lot of our children walking around today that don't feel love.
I hate to say that we have to stop the conversation because we don't want to go overboard. I want to give thanks to Sister Hadessa X for being here and to be a part of that. You will see more of her because she has a lot to say. She has a lot to share. She's a very intelligent, beautiful woman. She is coming into her spirituality, and I'm very proud and honored to have known you. And I, again, appreciate it and thank you for allowing me to be in your home. So I just want to say thank you. I'd like to give thanks to WNWP TV for giving us this time to be able to have this show and to be able to express to our women the feminine principle on how to help themselves to get themselves right and get better with themselves. And we are here. We're not going anywhere. If you need to be able to speak more or you wanted to talk to me personally, you can reach me on my cell phone. It's 347-552-6853. You can also find a lot of the work that I speak on my YouTube channel, which is www.youtube.com/SweetTeabs, which is SweetTeabz. But we are now at our time, and I thank you so much for being a part of this, and I hope that this will help you in some way, shape, or form. Thank you again, Sister Hadessa, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Hotep.